At least no new installments, no new games, no new content was created. And that's kind of where we stepped in. I want to talk a tiny bit on who we are and how we actually stepped into that game, because it's a bit of a funny story. So originally we started modding Age of Empires 2. We were like, oh, this is such a good game, and it hasn't seen anything new since 2001. And we tried to expand the game. We were like, oh, let's try to add new civilizations to the game. That had never happened before. And we're like, okay, let's try to do that. And we did, luckily. And then after a year of like trying to figure out like, hey, how does this work? How can you add to this game? This is a very, very old game. There were very little modding tools available for it. So it was quite a challenge to do it. And then late 2012, we released a mod for what we called it Forgotten Empires. Because it was like, okay, these are the empires that the original developers forgot to add to the game. That's where the name came from. We released it, we put it out on our website. We released it at Christmas Eve because we're like, oh, that's cool, we can give people a present for Christmas. It was a terrible decision because who wants to release a game on Christmas Eve? You're just working, fixing bugs while everybody else is having fun at the dinner table. So that was not a good idea. So when we released it, the goal was, okay, we're making this mod. We don't know how big the community in Age of Empires really is. We expect 20,000 downloads. If we get 20,000 downloads, we did a great job. The reality is we had 20,000 downloads in the first hour, and our website still differs. So, hey, great Christmas so far. But in the end, we had 1 million downloads. That was great, totally unexpected. And knowing that, we went to market. We were like, hey, this mod is very popular. Are you guys interested in turning it into an official part of the series, maybe? And luckily, right at that time, there was a bit of interest at Microsoft for Age of Empires. They were making the HD edition of the game, and we were like, okay, maybe we can turn this into an official expansion pack. And that's basically how we rolled into the whole project. Am I too far? Yeah, there we go. So that's what we've been doing for years after that. In 2013, The Forgotten came out on Steam. Then a few years later, we added more gameplay, more civilizations, more stories focusing on Africa, the African kingdoms. Then The Rise of the Rajas, where we go to Southeast Asian history. And like that, we've been involved with Microsoft for a few years. And at that time, Microsoft also really started to notice, like, whoa, there's a lot of interest in Age of Empires. There is a lot of people who still like to play this game. And that's where they kind of started, okay, we're going to make definitive editions of these games. A game like Age of Empires 1 has not seen anything since 1997, so we're going to make the E version of that, definitive edition of 2, 3, and then also eventually we're going to make Age of Empires 4. So yeah, let's take a look at Age of Empires definitive edition first. There's a bit of a screenshot in the background, but we're going to see a few more of that later. What is the definitive edition? That's a good question. That was actually the first question we asked ourselves. What is it? It's basically all content. Everything that has ever been released for the original Age of Empires 1 had to be in this package. So we have well, the original game. We had an expansion, The Rise of the Throne, back in the day. But also, if you remember, like way back, Microsoft used to put those CDs, those demo CDs, in your cereal, in like Kellogg's or Flix box, and you could get demo CD out of it. There were levels on that as well, so we had to find those back as well and put them in the definitive edition because we want to make sure that everything is in there. So everything had to be in there, but also everything that was in there had to be on the level of a 2018 game. You can't just, resell the same thing from 1997. It just doesn't work. All right. So that's really the big challenge when you make a remaster or a remaster in general. It's like you need to find that balance between how the game was and how the game should be today, because there is a massive difference between them. So yeah, that's the whole challenge. We want to talk about that a lot during the presentation, about those two things. So yeah, let's see. You start to look at your target audience. That's the first thing. Who are the people who are actually making this for? Who is going to buy this application? And we saw two big groups. The first big group is the existing community. And Age of Empires, even the original one from 1997, still has a lot of people actively playing the game. There's a large international community, and actually, if you look at the pictures there, those pictures kind of look like, oh, this can be a Fortnite or League of Legends or Dota tournaments. No, those are all Age of Empires 1 tournaments. They're actually parts in the world, especially the Vietnamese community, where they actively play Age of Empires 1 in a competitive format. They're very serious about it. You can actually walk around in Vietnam, in a big city, and there's like a bar or something, instead of showing football, they're showing Age of Empires 1. So they're actually very, very serious about this game. They have 100,000 of players still playing the game every day. So that's a community that you really, really have to keep in mind. And those people, all those people are people who have been playing this game for 20 years, the way it is. So they know the game inside out, completely inside out. So that's the existing community. But then you also have the returning community, and that's probably everybody here in this room. People who have played it in the past, you played it 20 years ago, you still love the game, and you have very good memories of it. But it has probably been 20 years ago since you played the game. And that's a very different target audience, because here you kind of have those great memories of playing it with your friends or with your brother or sister, and that's a very different, how should I say it, very, very different kinds of targets audience that you have here. So yeah, first thing we have to tackle, graphics. Graphics is actually the easiest bit because you have to make sure that it just looks good. It needs to look good when you see the game. And if you look at some of the before and after pictures, especially this one, a lot of people actually remember the game as it is on this side of the screen. They think this is how it was, this is how it used to be. And this happens a lot when we showed the first screenshots of the game, like official screenshots of the game. A lot of people said, oh, but this is exactly how the game used to look like. Because that's how they remember it. Not how it actually was, but how they remember it. So you're not just, building graphics, you have to build nostalgia classes, basically. And also we have to make sure that somebody who has been playing the game for 20 years from the existing community can see the new graphics and it's like, oh wait, this looks instantly recognizable. That's still a boat, that's still a tower, that's still an elephant, and you need to recognize it immediately. I'm too far from the laptop here. Yeah, there we go. So let's zoom in on one of the graphics here. The buildings. Buildings in Age of Empires always have very, very specific shape. Because you're playing a strategy game, you're looking around real quickly. So you have like a split second to see, oh, this building is this building is that. And you want no time to waste, oh, I need to click on the building to see actually what it is. You need to recognize it. So we always kept every shape of every building the same that it was. But as you see, we filled in a lot of details. You barely see a statue there. It's filled with statues, plants, and all those things. So we really had to fill up a lot of details that people remember were there, but were actually not there. So that was a good challenge for the art team. But after reading the reviews after the game came out, I'm very happy that it seems that reviewers agreed with our approach to how to do the art. So that was a big success, I have to say. So that's it for buildings. Let's also take a look at the units. There we go. Now this slide is a particularly interesting one because when we first went to Microsoft and told them like, hey, remastering Age of Empires 1, what can you do with the graphics? This was one slide where everybody said like, okay, do it. Because at the left is kind of what the game is. Actually, this is better than what is actually in the game. We made it look a bit better. But at the right, it's like, oh, this is what we can do. And again, at the right is what people remember. At the left is what it actually was. But you can see we put a lot of details into what the units used to be. There's now proper physics on the plots. There is proper weight distribution on the limbs. There's actually weights to the armor that it's wearing. All the kind of things you expect in the game from nowadays. So yeah, let's quickly look into the technical things of that. Because Age of Empires is an old game, right? It had animations. It was a 2D game. All the animations were rendered out. And they were rendered in 10 frames per second. Now they're rendered in 60 frames per second. Same for the amount of rotations, which you can clearly see on the elephant there. Only 8 rotations in the original, and now 32 in the new one. The reason why is because, of course, it needs to do better, but it's a 2D engine still. At heart, it's a 2D engine. And a lot of people think, oh no, it's a 3D game. No, it's not. And that's very important to keep that, because a lot of gameplay is just related to that. We're still working in that same old engine. So it's very, very hard to just say, oh no, we're just going to a different engine or we're going to a 3D engine. No, you can't do that. Because the gameplay and everything that is essentially Age of Empires, you have to keep that for your existing community. Because that's what they like. There we go. So what you see here is the original color palette of Age of Empires. All the graphics in the whole game used only these colors, 265 colors in total. Now, you see this little block here on the left, right, where you have the blue, the red, the yellow. Those are the player colors. So they cannot be used in the rest of your environment. That is to make sure, okay, a blue guy looks blue, a red guy looks red. So you can't use those colors on any other object than a player color object. So that means you only really have 180 colors left to make all the rest. So if we go back a bit, to this building, you can totally see the only colors, the player colors is blue. But for example, for the red, you only have like what? 6 shades of red to make the whole roof look like that. And that's also why it looks so, I would say, bad. At the time it was a genius tech, but nowadays if you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, that's really pixelated. And that's one of the things that we luckily improved upon as well. So now we don't have 265 colors for the whole game anymore. We now have 265 colors per asset. It's still not like full PNG arrays, like you don't have 32 million colors. But it is enough to really show like the full spectrum of the colors and the world that you want to draw here. The good thing about that, and that's why we still do this, Age of Empires is a massive game. It has so many assets. And we have to make sure that people can still run the game. So that's why it's still, in a way, lossless. It's not completely lossless, but it isn't optimized for. We use it for proprietary format, so otherwise it's just impossible to run the game. That also means that file size increased. The original game was only 300 megabytes. Any toaster could run the game. Now it's 17 gigabytes. If you just look at one asset, one unit is now as large as the whole game used to be in the past. So that's quite a difference. So yeah, it's something I said before, we're building nostalgia glasses. People think that's what the game looked like, but that's what the game really looked like. But reviews were very positive about the art, so this was actually the easiest part of the whole remastering process, because both people from the existing community were like, okay, this is a good upgrade, and people who came back were like, oh, this is exactly as I remembered it. So that was the easy bit. Now let's go to a bit of the harder ones. Sound of music. Music is actually still relatively easy to remaster, because people remember the songs, but they don't remember them by heart. And the good thing about the original game was they had a lot of MIDI songs. And we had those old MIDI songs still around, and we could use those as a basis to make an orchestral remix of the songs that we had. The picture at the left is a recording session in Prague, where they're actually doing a live rendition, live recording for the soundtrack in the game. So that is something where we could really stick to the original because we had the source assets, and at the same time make it sound new. Now, what is way more difficult is sound effects. Sound effects have a very, very strong nostalgic value because, especially in old games, when you listen to a sound effect, they usually didn't have a lot of variations. So if you told the guy to attack, he would always do the same grunts or the same sounds. Shooting a gun, it's always the same sound. And that's what you hear over and over and over again. And if you then play the game way later, many years later, and it's not the same sound, people are upset because that's not what they remember. And it's funny that there's such a difference between art and sound, but we got a lot of feedback on it while we were still creating the game, that certain sounds did not sound like the original. And the best example is this one actually. I hope it works here. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay, that was one of those sounds. Everybody knows one of those sounds. We changed it. We did a remaster of it, and everybody was complaining. So we quickly put it back. We layered the old sound with a new remix to still make it a little bit better. But it's definitely a part where you have to be careful, especially for an iconic sound like Wolumo. All right. I have an example on other sound effects as well, but sadly it doesn't seem to work here, so I'm going to skip these two slides here. There we go. All right. So that's sounds, that's music, that's graphics. The tricky part, gameplay. We have, remember the communities, the existing community and people who come back to the game? This is where it gets tricky. Strategy games, special RTS games, they evolved a lot since 1997. Things like zooming out in the game, zooming in and out. Every game has it. Every strategy game has that. Age of Empires never had it, but you have to add it. That's what people expect. It's a 2D game, so it was a very technical challenge to actually make that work. But regardless, people expect it. Customizable hotkeys, another thing. Like, you have to have giant hands to actually play with the hotkeys of the original game. And there was no way to edit them. So you have to use whatever you were given. Attack move was not in the game. Rally points, where you say, okay, my building is training units, and the units need to automatically go to a certain point, was not in the original game. But if you come back to the game, and you've been playing RTS games for the past 20 years, you will be very disappointed that it's not there. But these are the easy things, right? This is what people kind of expect. The existing community is also fine with it, but how far can you really go? And we hit a few points where the existing community was quite upset about some of the changes that we did. Funny enough, that was an issue with farms. Farms, you might think that's such a small thing, but it was a big issue for them. In the original game, and you can see it on the top there, farms were solid objects. So if you were a guy, a villager, or just any guy, walking to a farm, you could not pass it. I mean, it's just a bunch of lettuce and plants on the ground, but you couldn't walk across it. You were literally stopped. It was effectively a wall. And now the thing is, that's something we had to change. Every Age of Empires game that came after Age of Empires 1, you could just walk over farms. It looks more natural, it looks realistic. So we changed it. Now the problem is, this is a gameplay change. Remember the Vietnamese communities that were mental about Age of Empires 1? All of a sudden, farms were no longer walls, and they were very upset by that. Because they were so used to walling up their city with farms for building a safe farming community, that they were very upset. And they were like, why did you do that? We need an option. But you can't make it an option because you can't say, oh, for this player the farms are walls, and for this player they're not. You just can't do that. So the strategy changes, the meta changes, and that's something that's kind of upset people. So in the end, we decided to keep them because here you have to make a choice. We decided to go for the update, but there will always be people who are unhappy with changes. That's just how